power doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it enters a room quietly and leaves with everyone's attention. There is a certain kind of person who never competes for dominance, never rushes to speak, never feels the need to prove anything, and yet their presence unsettles people. Not because they are aggressive, not because they are loud, but because they are composed in a way that feels intentional. When tension rises, they don't react. When others argue, they observe. When challenged, they respond slowly, almost as if they were expecting it. And that stillness does something disturbing. It makes people question themselves. It shifts control without visible force. You cannot manipulate them easily. You cannot read them fully. And that uncertainty gives them power. Centuries ago, Niccolò Machiavelli warned about individuals like this, people whose strength lies not in display, but in discipline. He believed they were the most dangerous kind of human alive. To understand this kind of quiet dominance, we have to understand the mind of Niccolò Machiavelli, a man who studied power when power meant life or death. Living in the brutal political landscape of Renaissance Italy, Machiavelli observed rulers who fell because they were naive, and others who survived because they understood one thing: human nature is predictable when you know where to look. In his controversial masterpiece, The Prince, he stripped away idealism and exposed a colder truth. Influence does not belong to the most moral or the most emotional. It belongs to the most controlled. For Machiavelli, confidence was never loud. It was calculated. It was the ability to remain steady when others became reactive. It was the discipline to conceal emotion while studying everyone else's. And when confidence is paired with strategic awareness, it stops being attractive. It becomes quietly dangerous. They control their emotions, not others. This is where their power begins. Niccolò Machiavelli understood that the most dangerous individual is not the one who dominates people externally, but the one who governs himself internally. In The Prince, he repeatedly warned rulers against impulsive reactions because emotional decisions expose strategic weakness. A person who reacts emotionally becomes predictable, and predictability invites manipulation. Consider a heated boardroom confrontation. Accusations are thrown, voices rise, egos clash. The ordinary person defends, interrupts, escalates. The confident one listens, slows down breathing, measures each word. No visible reaction. That composure shifts psychological control. Ordinary people try to control outcomes by forcing others. Confident individuals control outcomes by mastering themselves. One seeks dominance through noise. The other commands influence through restraint. Controlled mind, unshakable presence. That is real authority. When you master your reactions, you quietly master the room. They never explain themselves unless absolutely necessary. Not because they are secretive, but because they are certain. Niccolò Machiavelli understood a brutal truth about power. The more a leader justifies himself, the smaller he appears. In the political chaos of Renaissance Italy, hesitation invited attack. Over-explanation signaled doubt, and doubt weakened authority. In The Prince, the message beneath the surface is clear. Decisive action speaks louder than defensive words. Authority moves forward. It does not seek permission. Picture a workplace scenario. A manager makes a tough decision. Someone challenges it publicly. The ordinary person rushes to defend, listing reasons, over-clarifying intentions, trying to calm everyone's opinion. Nervous energy. Too many words, subtle insecurity. The confident individual responds differently. Calm posture, steady tone, short explanation, then silence. No emotional urgency, no need for approval. The conversation ends not because they argued harder, but because they appeared immovable. Ordinary people explain to gain validation. Confident people speak to establish direction. One tries to convince, the other simply decides. Excess words, hidden anxiety, minimal words, visible certainty. When you stop explaining yourself to everyone, you stop giving them authority over you. Silence becomes leverage, brevity becomes power, and certainty becomes untouchable. They observe more than they speak. Quiet analysis, constant awareness, strategic patience. Niccolò Machiavelli believed that understanding people is more powerful than impressing them. In the unstable politics of his time, survival depended on reading motives before they were revealed. In The Prince, he subtly emphasizes that a wise ruler studies patterns, who flatters, who envies, who waits for weakness. Because information is advantage, and silence gathers information. Imagine entering a new social circle or corporate environment. The ordinary person tries to speak quickly, to prove intelligence, to gain relevance, too eager, too visible. The confident individual does the opposite, listens carefully, watches body language, notices alliances, identifies insecurities, speaks last, speaks precisely. While others compete for attention, they collect leverage. Ordinary people talk to be seen. Confident people observe to see clearly. One reveals thoughts freely. The other filters everything. Loud presence, limited awareness, quiet presence, deep perception. When you speak less, people reveal more, and the one who understands the room always controls the outcome. They are comfortable with being misunderstood. No constant clarification, no image chasing, no emotional panic. Niccolò Machiavelli recognized that public perception can never be fully controlled. In The Prince, he suggests that leaders must accept criticism, suspicion, even misjudgment, as long as their position remains strong. Because seeking universal approval is weakness, stability matters more than popularity. Consider someone pursuing a long-term goal, building a business, changing careers, setting boundaries in relationships. The ordinary reaction when misunderstood, immediate defense, emotional explanation, desire to correct every assumption. The confident person remains steady, focused direction, silent progress. They allow others to misread them temporarily, knowing clarity will come through results. Ordinary people protect their image. Confident people protect their mission. One fears being disliked. The other fears losing focus. Approval-seeking, energy-draining, purpose-driven, emotionally grounded. When you stop needing everyone to understand you, you become harder to control. And the person who cannot be emotionally pressured becomes quietly dangerous. They never seek validation, no applause, no recognition, no external reassurance. Niccolò Machiavelli repeatedly emphasized that power resides in self-sufficiency, not approval. In The Prince, he warned rulers not to chase public favor, because dependence on opinion makes you weak and manipulable. True confidence is invisible to the crowd. It is rooted in inner certainty. Think of an ambitious professional pitching an idea. The ordinary person craves nods, smiles, and agreement, constantly checking reactions. The confident individual presents the idea, stands firm, and does not seek affirmation. Feedback is data, not fuel. Ordinary people adjust to please. Confident people adjust only when necessary. One lives to be liked, the other lives to succeed. When you stop seeking validation, you reclaim your energy. Influence shifts naturally. Approval is irrelevant. You become quietly unstoppable. They know when to walk away. Strategic retreat, calculated exit, emotional detachment. Niccolò Machiavelli argued that power is not just about engagement, it is also about knowing when to remove oneself from situations that weaken position. In The Prince, he illustrates how rulers survived by abandoning hopeless conflicts rather than clinging to pride. Consider a tense negotiation. Ordinary individuals stay too long, argue too much, or beg for compromise, draining credibility. Confident individuals sense diminishing returns, pause, and withdraw silently, letting absence speak louder than words. While the crowd fights for attention, they preserve leverage. Ordinary people escalate problems. Confident people conserve power. One fears leaving empty-handed. The other leaves with advantage intact. Walking away is not surrender. It is mastery of timing. When you control presence and absence, influence becomes your weapon. They play the long game. Patience, planning, vision beyond the moment. Niccolò Machiavelli taught that immediate victories are meaningless if they sacrifice strategic advantage. In The Prince, he shows how rulers who think only short-term are soon replaced. Those who endure quietly shape lasting power. Imagine building a career, a relationship, or influence in a social circle. Ordinary people seek instant recognition, quick results, and immediate praise. Confident people invest silently, plant seeds, observe growth, and strike at the right moment. Ordinary people burn energy chasing outcomes. Confident people conserve it, letting time multiply results. One wants fast wins, the other builds empires. Playing the long game makes you untouchable. Patience is power. Quiet preparation guarantees ultimate influence, and those who endure outlast the loudest voices in the room. So far, everything we've explored has only been the surface. A glimpse into the quiet strength that makes some individuals truly formidable. We've seen how controlling emotions, observing more than speaking, never explaining themselves, and staying comfortable with being misunderstood can silently shift the balance of power around them. But these are only the foundations. The real danger, the trait that makes someone quietly unstoppable, is still ahead. You might be thinking that power comes from loud authority, charisma, or constant action. That is what most people chase. They try to impress, to persuade, to dominate through visibility. But the most dangerous individuals operate differently. They understand that influence is subtle, patient, and strategic. It doesn't need applause, it doesn't require validation, and it doesn't rush. By staying silent in moments where others panic, by remaining steady when chaos erupts, they build an invisible edge that grows stronger every day. And here's the secret most people never realize. This edge is not immediately obvious. Others may misjudge them. People may underestimate them, ignore them, even mock them. But every observation, every careful choice, every calculated pause strengthens their position. They are laying traps without anyone noticing, building leverage while everyone else wastes energy in reaction. This is the quiet form of power Machiavelli revered, a power that doesn't shout, but subtly bends situations to its will. If you leave now, you'll miss the most revealing part of this discussion, the trait that, when mastered, transforms ordinary confidence into something that cannot be challenged. It is the final piece that ties every other quality together: the patience, the self-control, the observation, the independence. It is the reason why some people can walk into any room and, without a single dramatic gesture, make everyone adjust to their presence. So stay with me, watch closely, because what comes next will change the way you understand influence, control, and human behavior forever. This is not theory. This is reality. And this is the edge that separates the quietly dangerous from everyone else. All 7 traits we've discussed: controlling emotions, never over-explaining, observing more than speaking, being comfortable with being misunderstood, never seeking validation, knowing when to walk away, and playing the long game, do not exist in isolation. They are threads of a single, powerful fabric. When combined, they form a mindset that is strategically untouchable, a psychological framework that shapes perception without force and commands influence without demand. Each trait strengthens the others. Silence amplifies observation. Patience enhances emotional control. Independence fuels long-term strategy. Together, they create a self-reinforcing loop of subtle dominance that ordinary people rarely recognize until it's too late. This is not innate. These traits can be developed, practiced, and refined. Like a mental muscle, your ability to control your emotions strengthens with repeated discipline. Your capacity to remain calm while others panic grows as you practice observation over reaction. Choosing when to step back, when to act, when to remain silent, these are not natural skills for most. They require conscious effort, self-awareness, and repeated reflection on your own behavior and motives. Every time you pause instead of reacting, every time you act with intent rather than impulse, you are building this invisible form of power. And yet, Niccolò Machiavelli offers a final warning. He reminds us that power is a responsibility, not a game. Those who cultivate these traits without wisdom risk arrogance, detachment, or cruelty. Mastery over others begins with mastery over oneself. Without discipline, the same traits that make you quietly dangerous can isolate you, breed misunderstanding, or even attract enemies who detect subtle ambition and exploit it. Use these traits deliberately, cultivate them steadily, and respect the human nature around you. When aligned, they transform ordinary confidence into an almost untouchable presence, the kind of quiet authority Machiavelli both admired and feared. Niccolò Machiavelli didn't write about evil. He wrote about reality, and the reality is this: the most dangerous person in any room isn't the loudest. It isn't the one demanding attention or recognition. It's the one who doesn't need to be, the one who moves with calm confidence, observes silently, and lets actions speak louder than words. That quiet presence reshapes environments, shifts outcomes, and commands respect without effort. If you found value in understanding these 7 traits and want to cultivate this kind of quiet power yourself, take action now. Like this video to support the channel, comment your thoughts or experiences below. Which trait resonates with you most, and why? Your insight could help others see the subtle power in themselves. And don't leave yet. In the next video, we'll dive even deeper into the psychological tricks that silently influence anyone around you, revealing methods most people would never notice. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss this next layer of mastery. Because understanding power is only the first step. Applying it wisely is what sets you apart. Remember, Influence isn't loud, it's intentional, it's patient, and it's quietly unstoppable. Be that person.